The discourse on digital migration for free-to-air television is an important topic within the government and with stakeholders. The government has now announced the date for digital migration.
To switch off on 31st December 2014, covering Nairobi and its environs.
However, mainstream media under the Africa Digital Network Limited, a consortium of Royal Media Services, the Nation Group and the Standard Group, have faulted this move to set a date just 3 days after they were granted a license to carry their content to free-to-air consumers of television content. Speaking during a consultative meeting with the Communications Authority, the three media houses argued that the date set will not give sufficient time to set up the infrastructure that will carry the digital frequencies.
Limited, and Star Times was issued with a signal distribution license. They then used literally all the frequencies, and I say 90% of the frequencies, for a pay TV service under Star Times. Now, there is no way after that change that we could allow our signals to be carried by those two firms. And we've taken that position for the last 3 years. Since 2011, we've prosecuted through the Supreme Court. And I want again to say most sincerely, very grateful to CAK and to all the teams that have played to ensure that the three media houses are allocated a license. Now, in terms of timing, therefore, we have said that it's the other parties, Punk, Star Times, have had more than 3 years to roll out their network. Similarly, Signet have had more than 3 years to roll out their network. Pursuant to the guidelines by the Supreme Court, and I can read what the Supreme Court said at some stage, we have managed to get the license. We have therefore, and again, we've written with great humility to CAK that we request time until the 30th of April. It will give us 5 months to roll out our network and any other infrastructure that is required to self-carry our signals.
The date is what we are suggesting on very, very practical terms, DG. I know my friend Felix said, you should have prepared. I mean, you can't place the cart before the horse. You need the license first, which has been a very tricky issue. We have had to go to court to fight you, DG, to give us this, and only this week you did. Now we need time to put our infrastructure in place.
We need to invest in set-top boxes, have them manufactured, airlifted to Kenya, and distributed. We also need to invest in transmitters. Honestly, unless we perform a miracle, it is not possible within 30 days. That is why our request to the authority, and we've written to them, I think, to allow us time, at the very least, 4 months, to put our infrastructure in place so that we can carry our own content.
The three media houses argued that the allocation of frequencies has not been done in a manner that reflects a respect for national resources and is not equitable and fair to the players in the industry. The government, on its part, has pledged to work with industry players to address concerns.
I know, and I want to confirm that I am aware that some of our colleagues in the media industry would have liked more time so that they are able to switch off at a later date than 31st of December. We are aware of the challenges that some of our broadcasters face, but we are committed to working together with all the broadcasters to ensure that whatever challenges that they may face are addressed and dealt with.
Data from the Communications Authority of Kenya website shows that the Pan-African Network Group, a Chinese company that has been allocated most of the frequencies available for digital migration with 120 frequencies and in 50 out of the 56 designated broadcasting locations in the country. Essentially, this means that the Chinese company has been allocated the lion's share of public assets. Signet, the publicly funded digital signal carrier, has been allocated 54 of the frequencies in 25 locations countrywide, representing about 28.4%. Then Lancia Media or Radio Africa Group follows next. It has been allocated 11 frequencies and they are in 11 locations, representing 5.7%. GoTV or DMTV has 5 frequencies in 5 locations. But a consortium of key industry players, that is Royal Media Services, the Nation Group and the Standard Group, has been allocated 21 analog frequencies in 21 locations. This therefore means that the consortium will have to await the analog switch-off before the frequencies can become available for digital migration, a state of affairs that is not acceptable to the 3 media houses.
And we felt, as a matter of principle and national pride, as Kenyans, we cannot agree to be carried by a foreign company. I think after our analysis of the frequencies, we realized, available on the communications website, there are 190, I think, digital frequencies that has been allocated or assigned. He will correct me if I'm wrong. Of those 190, 120 have been assigned to Pan-African Network. That is 63% of the spectrum. So as Kenyan investors, we felt, surely this cannot be. That's why we've been negotiating with the CA, and graciously they offered us the authority to carry our own content. That authority was given on Tuesday, on the 25th. Today is Friday. Now, today, Friday, we are setting a date.
Let it be clear to everybody, including our friends PAN. We are, as mainstream media of this country, extremely wary of having our signal distributed by yourselves. We are totally uncomfortable about that idea. And DG, we fault you and the entire government for what has happened in this whole frequency distribution exercise. 63% to Pang, a company from China, in a country which has some of the highest investments in media industry in Africa. You can't explain this with a clear conscience. This is wrong. 63% and 10%, or is it 5% to us, the local fraternity. This is an arrangement that is not acceptable.
It's unconscionable to give a foreign company 63% of the national assets and the national resources. So, in accordance with the ruling of the Constitution, item E, you are required, Mr. CAK, Mr. Director General, in exercise of your statutory powers to ensure that the BSD license issued to the fifth appellant, which is bank, is duly aligned to the Constitution, specifically Chapter 10 of the Constitution, which is about national values. So let me hope and pray, and I'll go to church, that never again will there be additional frequencies issued to the foreign company.
The current arrangement puts media content providers in Kenya under the consortium at a loss, because going by the frequency allocations in some areas, they will have to rely on a Chinese company, PANG, or the government distributor, Signet. The media houses say they have over the past 15 years invested massively in transmission infrastructure that gives them a footprint across the nation. Willis Raburu, Citizen Weekend.